Hello and welcome to another edition of Scale Up Stories. Ben here with another business owner who has made her bread and butter here in the Southeast. I'm really excited to talk about bread and butter, by the way. We're starting off on a food theme here, aren't we, Elise? Sorry about the internet problems this morning to get on the live. If you're listening on the podcast, this hasn't affected you at all. But Elise, thank you for staying patient with me this morning, and thank you for jumping on. How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. Yeah, no problem at all. Honestly, we all have technical problems, don't we, these days? So it's all cool. It's fine.
Especially working from home. Do you know what? I've actually been quite blessed through the whole lockdown period. I haven't struggled at all with internet difficulties. But today in the office, of all places, we've struggled with slight technical difficulties. It just goes to show, doesn't it? It can happen anywhere.
Well, that's not bad going, is it? I think. No, that's good.
We've done really well. Now, if you don't know much about Elise Daly, she's a co-founder and a managing director of Wonderchup. And I'm really excited to chat to you, Elise, because we've spoken to a few different business owners who are based here in the Southeast and they're mainly within the food and drink industry. But I think Wonderchup's slightly different. I mean, a bit like Nims, you've got the health element to it. But where you've come from, I think, is going to be a very, very interesting story to tell. And you've seen some rapid growth over the past year as well. So for someone out there who's watching this, doesn't know much about Wonderchup, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Absolutely, yeah. No, we are the world's first no added sugars and no added salt ketchup, and that might not sound like much, but we realise that a toddler's first dollop of ketchup leads to a kind of lifelong addiction to sugar. It's one of the ways that excess sugar gets into our food. So we made Wonderchup because we wanted to make a healthy ketchup, and we'll come later to the reasons why we started the business. But we're different because we are completely as healthy as we could be. So when I say no added sugar, I mean no added sugar, no cane sugar, no fructose, because what we're trying to do is make the first, say it's a toddler eating ketchup for the first time, we want them to appreciate what a tomato is and what a fantastic thing vegetables are. So that's the intention behind Wonderchup. We're a purely healthy ketchup because we know you need convenience foods, but you don't necessarily need to add bad to good. And I think everybody has ketchup in their cupboards, and it's in every restaurant you can think of. And there was an opportunity to do some good and put healthy food in places where surreptitious excess sugar was hidden. So that's what Wonderchup is. In addition to taking out the sugar and the salt, I also read quite a lot of medical reports. I'm not from a medical background, but I read a lot that the Lancet put out, and the WHO and the UN, and I found that vitamin deficiencies were also a key trigger to NCDs, non-communicable diseases. So again, ketchup's pretty ubiquitous, so we could do some good with this. So I decided to add some vitamins, and that's been quite interesting. So we're the first company, one, to take out all the sugars, and two, to add vitamins. Now, whether you're with fortification, whether you think it's a big corporation's idea of making an unhealthy food healthy, that's another debate. But you see, people are deficient in vitamins, and people like ketchup, so it sort of seemed to solve a problem for me. I wanted children to feel good. We know people are gaming more, they're indoors more, so adding vitamin D3, the sunshine drug, for instance, is one way of ensuring you're kind of keeping your nutrient level as high as it can be, but but not in a kind of a patronising way, but in a fun, non-preachy way. This is what we thought. So that's really the rationale behind the business. And we've got other products that are coming, but the ketchup is the one we wanted to get right first because it's one of the most popular ones, and everybody understands what it's supposed to be doing and what it goes with.
With healthy foods and healthy food crazes, sometimes there's a product that comes out and you hear about the health benefits of it, and sometimes it doesn't live up to expectations, doesn't live up to standards in its taste. But how important is it for you as a founder of this business to make sure that, with your product, it's healthier, but it's also not compromising on quality and taste?
Oh, extreme. Well, I'm really glad you asked that, actually, because quality is really, really important, and it's quite easy to make inferior products. Our ketchup is expensive, but I can tell you the markup from my point of view is just runs the business. There's at one point, I'm sure the business will earn some money from it. So that's sort of an indication of how much it actually costs to make proper food in the way that I've made it. So it's really, really important. And also, I didn't just take our family recipe and think that I'd solve the ketchup problem, because that's a bit arrogant. But really. What I decided to do is I worked our product with lots of friends and lots of real foodie friends, and I've got a lot of friends who are brilliant cooks. I'm just a confident home cook. And then what I did is I took it to a brilliant lady called Nikki Gurr, who's a local chef and runs 2 catering companies, and she's fantastic. And I hope she knows how completely fantastic she is. She's a Michelin trained chef. So we took my family recipe and we made it we made it production ready with Nikki's help, because it's no good having a good idea but really not seeing it through. In addition to that, I worked with the best medical advisors I could. So we worked with, to add the vitamins. So spoke to lots of doctors, did a lot of research, spoke to Cambridge and Brunel Healthcare, who were in charge of vitamins in the UK. And then I worked with the best vitamin company to get the best food mix vitamin grades to go in. So we had Nikki go, we had the best vitamin advisors. And then I did lots of trials, and we're really happy with the product. It's sweetened with red peppers and yellow peppers and cinnamon and roasted fennel. So it's all natural. It's not going to taste exactly the same as Heinz, but it couldn't. But I think anybody, if you take those ingredients and you cook them nicely, there's a lovely flavour. And I think it's really how ketchup should have been made. But obviously 140 years ago, preservation was an issue, but it isn't now. And there's no excuse really to do things in a really healthy way. If you believe you can, and if somebody doesn't stop you doing it.
You're making me dribble now. I think I'm going to have to get some to try. I'm extremely excited.
I'm sorry I hadn't done that yet. I'll get you some out today.
Right, it's no problem at all. Yeah, no, I'm really bad at planning ahead to make sure. I should really have it ordered so that I could have it here with me to show it off in person. Said this last week to Namisha, but then the week just passes you by at the moment, doesn't it? It's crazy how quickly the week goes. I think everything you was talking about there, I think it stands out with you guys because you're still very early on, so to speak, in your business venture, being Wonderchup. If you go back and have a look at where your story started, it has been a long period building up to where you are now. But I think the fact that you're an already award-winning company goes to show where you're going and how much time and effort you've gone through to make sure that you have a product here that doesn't just tick the boxes of being healthy, but also, as you say, has that amazing quality control element to it. So you're not compromising on taste, you're not compromising on quality. For Kent Life Food and Drink to give you the Food Product of the Year award, I mean, how did it feel getting that recognition in potentially such a short space of time?
Oh gosh, I was amazed. I really didn't believe it. For one, actually, we were nominated. We didn't put ourselves in for the competition, so that kind of really took me back, actually. And to make the short list, to make the long list, you go through a bit of a process. I don't know if you know much about the awards, but they're like every sort of super award. It started to feel like the BAFTAs or something really important.
And get all dressed up for it and was like, this is my red carpet moment.
We did. Actually, the photos of the night are on the Kent Life website. You should look at it, actually, because their content is a brilliant magazine, and their online magazine's really good. So I definitely suggest you look at the photos from the event. It was a beautiful night, really fabulous. The editor, Sarah Sturt's great. Andy Garland, the compere, the host, is, the whole team. They made you feel really, they really sort of understood what the journey had been. They cared about why you were doing it, and I think that was the point of difference between us and some of the other products that have been that might have also won. We were up against some brilliant companies, actually. Laura Bounds, Kentish Oils, Kentish Crisps. She's a fantastic company. She's really big player. I think you're going to interview her actually too. And
I think she's on next week, actually. Yeah.
Oh, fabulous! Well, she's lovely. We've become friends now, actually, and she was so nice to me after we won the award. I did expect her to win it because we haven't been around very long. But actually, the judge who came to see us, I might have slightly gone off track here, but it felt amazing. Right. It was really wonderful, and I didn't expect us to win, to be honest with you, because we've only been a year ambient. So we started as a fresh ketchup, because I was having a conversation mainly with myself about whether we should be positioned in supermarkets and delis, and where would be a good place for a new type of ketchup. Could that catch the attention of people in a different way to ambient products? So we'd only been a year really as the product we won for, so that made it even more special. But we had a really lovely judge who came out, James Farmer, who's a local businessman involved in quite a few interesting businesses, and he spent a long time discussing the business, discussing our plans, really giving us a thorough sort of interview in effect. Mm-hmm. And unbeknownst to me, I'd also been they'd been secret shopping, they'd been testing us, they'd been doing a really, really thorough appraisal of the business. So that gave, actually winning was just only, just one element to it, because to think they had really, really considered us properly. It wasn't just this is a nice company, she's trying to do something good. It really means a lot, actually. It was much more, it meant a lot to us, and it still does. We're Food Life Product of the Year. Someone else will get it soon, in a couple of months' time. But I'm sure it's really opened doors for us. And Kent is such an amazing county. There are so many foodies, and everybody deserves an award, because it's blimmin' hard work, actually. But it was a great night, and And Stefano Cumo who owns McNade's was the overall hero of the night, and it was brilliant. We made some good friends, and yeah, it's been good.
Can't wait to all get back in a room together again. Feels like that was a world away now, doesn't it? So you mentioned there about the journey, and I was saying there a bit of a short space of time, but you've got an amazing backstory that I was reading on the website about your bigger picture and sort of where it all started off. And there was a story in there about a family barbecue too. So the business, I think, officially started, just reading between the lines, in around January 2018. In terms of that's when you established yourselves as Wonderchup. But what's your story, Elise? Who runs Wonderchup with you, and how did your journey lead you to being where you guys are today and creating the product that you do today?
Well, the whole story behind Wonderchup is a bit tragic, actually. But we're
oh no, can you make it fun?
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you didn't know, it's not fun, but it's turning out to be good, to be what's the word I'm looking for? To be a good tribute to the people we lost. So we lost 3 people to breast cancer about 5 years ago in a 2-year period. We lost my husband's mother, auntie, and his sister. Carl is also the co-founder of Wonderchup, and he's from a big Irish family. And Jackie was his second eldest sister. Carl is 4 in the rank of 5. Now, Jackie was an amazing woman. She's really creative, really alternative, and she fought breast cancer as hard as she could, just as hard as everybody tries. It came back again, and she was a single mum and part-time worker. She was a single mum, and actually not in good fortune. So, to be honest with you, this is the story you do need to know, because I think we all probably know people who have been touched by cancer. Undoubtedly we will, but
yeah, of course.
So Jackie had tried her hardest to fight cancer. She did fight it. It came back, and actually it's the second attack that tends to kind of really throw people, and it's really hard to keep going and keep fighting. And I admire so many people like the Bowel Babe who just, shares all her stories on Instagram and tells everybody how hard it is and the reality of cancer. Jackie did her very best, but it doesn't always work out. And that's the tragedy. So Jackie lost her life, but in fighting cancer, she educated the whole family about sugar consumption. And this is the important reason that Wonderchup exists. One, sugar is in 75% of your food, and it's linked to the top 5 global killers. So everybody will die. 71% of the world's population die from non-communicable diseases. And these are possibly diseases that we can all outlive by living well. So by taking sugar out of your diet as much as possible, not talking about birthday cakes, not talking about your drink, not talking about chocolate, but trying to live well, eat healthily, and sort of push that health agenda, the salutogenesis, live well to outlive disease and to not fight disease when you're older. That's what Wonderchup is about. So Jackie had tried her hardest, and actually it's tribute to her and her 2 boys that Wonderchup exists. So to cut a sad story shorter, I started making ketchup really when Jackie was ill and she was telling me about sugar. And I found out that brand leading ketchup had twice the sugar of Coke. So one, I didn't feed my kids Coke with eggs and breakfast and things, but I was definitely giving it to them quite often because I didn't know any different, hadn't looked into it.
And it's easy just to put a little bit of a dip on a plate, isn't it? Like I'm finding that now with my little girl to go, hey, no, if you eat the rest of this dinner, how about you do some dip, just dip it in there, and automatically they'll eat it because it tastes better. It's just so easy to do that as a parent.
It's true, and we've all done it, and each to their own, and everybody's consumption is going to be different. And I'm not here to preach. I'm only just sharing what we learned in the hope that I can
your story.
Save people what we went through, really. And I do believe quite strongly that good food is as good as the best medicine. And Jackie nearly beat it. And had we had the resources to sort of get all the vitamins, completely take her out of her circumstances and support her 24/7, which is what she really needed to get her through it. I'm quite sure I wouldn't be talking to you today.
How does that make you feel though, Jackie? And how inspirational is that, having a figure like Jackie in your life to sort of create this business idea off of? Because obviously just hearing your story there, it sounds like a phenomenal woman who obviously fought her hardest, knew her stuff. She's educated people and especially you guys to create a product. How great is that to be able to do this?
Totally. I mean, we miss her so much, and the reason, she was an amazing woman, really lovely. It's quite filling me up thinking about her actually now. But it's nice to talk about it because you don't want to get people. Course. But no, it's really a tribute to her. This was not my idea. In effect, it really is the product of Jackie's re-education to all of us. So I'm really, really pleased we're doing it for her, and her boys are super proud, and our kids are really proud. And I've promised Elodie and Jules, our two children, that I would do my best and get it to everyone, because that's really how the conversation went. I made this sauce, they said, and they knew the reasons we were doing it, and then they said, I want all my friends to have it. I really don't want them to have that, because they were a bit younger then, and you feel children are altruistic. There's no way around it. Children just don't have a bad bone in their bodies. They have the best ideas. They want to save the world, and if you can kind of capture a little bit of that childhood ambition, I think it's a good thing to share with adults. So that's really where we came from.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Well, love to your family, and obviously love to Jackie's family as well. And of course, if anyone's listening to this out there and obviously wants to give to a charity or wants to have read a bit more into the story, go and check out obviously the story of Wonderchup as well online, but also go and check out, there's some great breast cancer charities out there. I know my fiance has a direct debit set up with one where she only gives something like £2 a month, but it's it's just something that helps. And the more research you can do into diseases, into cancer, obviously the better chance we have for people in the future to be able to prolong and live longer with these obviously horrible circumstances. So please go online, check that out, and read these stories and share the stories, because the stories help people confront their own battles and their own demons as well. So it's amazing, at least it's amazing that you've managed to carry that through the family, so to speak, and through friends, and you've managed to create this amazing product, off the back of it, and also inspire others. Like you say there, you've just taught me something now. I never knew it had twice the amount of sugars in than Coke. That's
I kind of almost don't like to say it, but it is a shocking thing. I mean, actually, leaving Jackie to one side, although she is the real motivation for it, it is serious. You do happy, upbeat podcasts, and we don't want to do a sort of
the only reason why I say that is sometimes people come on and obviously talk about their business stories and turn around and go, yeah, well, actually, I broke my leg like 7 months ago and came up with this idea and ran with it. And it's like, well, but what did you do to make it? Obviously, yours was actually born off the back of an absolute tragedy, but also something that has factual elements within it, which is obviously important to share as part of your story. So that's the only reason why I made that quite.
No, you've been so lovely. I think it's really important to understand the sugar problem, actually, because I'll give you some stats if you like, if you want some to take.
Please. Please.
So over the last 15 years, sugar consumption's risen by 250% in our diets, and in that 15-year period, diabetes has gone up by 45%. Every 10 minutes in the UK, children, not adults, are having general anaesthetics on the NHS to take teeth out. It cuts across all kinds of different health conversations. So it is a really important conversation to have. It's just how do you go about it? How do you tell people that actually healthy food is better for you for so many different reasons? I mean, it's a kind of circular investment, isn't it? Your health. If you can keep well, you're happier. Two, hopefully you live longer. You're just in a better position to deal with what life throws at you. And this year has really highlighted. The pandemic has really highlighted people's lifestyle and health, actually. And so we are in a lucky position with the business, actually, because we're able to talk with great confidence, because it's very easy to see how poor health has affected people, be it people who are working from home, not feeling so good, and maybe jumping on Joe Wicks's exercise or somebody else's free exercise portal and just trying to make themselves feel better. And that's what Wonderchup's about. We don't want to preach. We just want to say, it's really good. Look after yourself. It'll be all right. That's the message. You just have to give it your best. Really, that is the whole point of our business. And we're trying, and we are, Heinz are our competitor. I'm not really trying to take any other businesses out. That's the only target, because they're the people that really had all the time in the world, all the money to reformulate and reinvent and rechange. And that was why, we have won other awards actually for innovation. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because people haven't done what we've done. And I'm so pleased we got to do it because of Jackie, because of those people. Yeah.
You obviously there told us a bit of the story behind the statistics and what you've learned, and obviously Jackie's incredible story. But also you mentioned a bit earlier on that you are a bit of a foodie. You do like making food. So how much does the element come in as well that you've toyed around with playing about with foods and with recipes to try and take that sugar consumption out of it? How did that play a part in the birth of Wonderchup?
Well, it was quite easy, weirdly, because I'm really lucky. My parents, we travelled a lot actually when I was younger, and I've had a really foodie upbringing. My mum is, she's an advocate of the Mediterranean diet. I mean, I've been eating roasted peppers since I was really little, which doesn't sound that exciting, and perhaps it's something that doesn't sound exciting. In fact, maybe I shouldn't have said it. But anyway, it's out there now. But anyway, the point is, I've eaten a wide range of vegetables, and so I did the same with our children. And our son always ate red peppers and celery and crudité, and that's, in fact, you say you've got a toddler now. So crudité and hummus, these are just things that you have at your fingertips. This is how, you wean your child, and then, the different foods come in. So for us, it was just, well, what's sweet? What are the children like? I'm just going to make it with that. And roasting peppers is an easy way to add sweetness to anything. And that was it, actually. When I worked with Nikki Gurr, what was really interesting is just trying to play around with how indigenous we could make Wonderchup. And this is the only thing that I would have liked to have turned out differently, but it's just not possible. We played around with loads of old spices, basically. We played with mace and different UK foods, because really what I wanted to do is, one, build a really successful business that was British, create jobs, create a good story, do some good, tidy, really tidy, nice idea. And I really wanted, in that case, to make it completely indigenous, and that just wasn't possible. So mace was the only thing we could really get any sort of extra sweetness from, and it was just unsuccessful. So in the end, it was cinnamon that we had to source from overseas. But we had a really good time playing with recipes. Nikki reminded me it was 17 extra tweaks recently of the recipe.
Wow,
and
really?
She said it was all about colour. She said it wasn't really, we had the flavour. When Nikki and I met, we had the flavour. Nikki perfected it, the thickening, all the kind of stuff that super chefs know about. And it was really just about the colour. I played around with the colour quite a lot because my background is in design, and so actually it really mattered to me. And you do eat with your eyes, so being a foodie, definitely presentation is important. So we're really happy with the colour and the way it looks. And in fact, that was really the fiddly bit.
I love how all your answers come roundabout in some way to what I'm going to say in the next question. But you mentioned about your background, but you also mentioned there about some of the challenges you've had. So I don't know where to go next. Let's keep on with Wonderchup. Let's talk about the challenges you faced. You've mentioned there about the amount of tweaks you had to make to the ingredients and the recipe, and to make this perfect product, not just from a quality point of view, from a health point of view, and also the way it looks, because that's important to you as well. Yeah. In this current climate, obviously, it's really, really tough with everything that's going on. I mean, maybe even it's playing into your hands slightly, because everyone is trying to give themselves a bit of a health kick and trying to kick themselves up the backside to be as healthy as they can do, especially with, and I keep on talking about this, and maybe this is me being a little bit uneducated, but reading what I've read online, I think vitamin D plays a bigger part in our health than actually we knew or know before COVID actually hit along, when I'm looking at the different reports on how vitamin D can impact on your immune system and yes, keep out common colds and coronaviruses and different bits and pieces like that. So so for you, what has been your biggest challenge so far? And for you, is it around the ingredients and trying to make this healthy product or this perfect product, or is it more around the sale of it? Is it in shops? Are you wholesaling it? Is it online? What are the challenges?
Yeah, we're doing all those things now, but actually the reality is that we are, we're not an especially wealthy family. So this whole business has been built from savings. So in fact, we haven't had holidays for 3 years. So the kids have been very tolerant, actually. And we were going to have a holiday this year, and then obviously we know what's happened this year.
But they get all the ketchup they want to eat. So there's pros and there's cons.
What would you want? So the challenges are actually keeping on going when you're using your own personal money and you're using faith and gut instinct to keep you going. It is quite a test, but I think any entrepreneur you speak to, I think we're all the same. There's a type of person that wants to do something and will just keep going until they get to the destination that they're after. And as I said to you, I'm really looking to have this conversation with Heinz, actually. So the reason I'm pushing this is because I really think other companies should have done this. And so nothing will stop me from this mission at the moment. But it's challenging because working 7 days a week for no money is a challenge. You just can't, you can't get around that. And I had a successful design business for a long time, and that paid for holidays and paid for extras and things like that. And it's difficult. So that, being really honest with you, that is a challenge for anybody setting up on their own. So learning to really keep going when actually you're wondering, is this going to be the month it moves on? Is it going to get traction now? But we are selling all over the world, and that happened quite early on. We had a bit of press, which really helped us. And so we've sold literally to all corners of the earth. And I couldn't, that tells me people are interested in this particular product. So that motivates me. But yeah, it's easier to bottle in plastic, and plastic is a big problem. So for me, making a health product, I was never going to put anything in plastic because microplastics don't biodegrade. They're found on the top of the mountains. They're found in the sea. They cause inflammation. They cause problems. They are known to cause lung cancer. It's so starting this business, it would have been easier to package it differently, to go about things differently. But of course, we didn't want to do any of that. So it's been a challenge. But we've worked with some really nice people actually, and we're now with a fantastic production partner, Bennett Opie's in Sittingbourne, and I feel in really safe hands actually as the business grows. They're brilliant. They're a really well established, trusted company, and that sort of thing. You know, this all helps with us along the way. But yeah, it's difficult. Sales are difficult when it's just you picking up the phone to do everything. That can be difficult. But I've got a team in the background now, so things are going to get easier.
I saw it's about this. I was just going to say, for you, just listening to you speaking there, in terms of challenges and hurdles, obviously your long term, you want to grow the business and you want to be above your competitors. Of course you do. You're not a business owner if you don't want to be up there, or you want to be challenging your biggest competitors. But for you in the short term or the medium term, is it about education? Not just educating people, but educating the businesses around you and trying to actually slightly alter the industry more than actually creating your own industry and your own health product? This should be the norm for any products out there. There should be another alternative. You spoke about Heinz there quite openly. Heinz should be doing more, but also other manufacturers of sauces should also be doing more.
But I think also there's a good argument to say a little of what you fancy does you good. And I wouldn't say that not to have chocolate, not to have a certain mayonnaise or another type of ketchup. Stokes was our default ketchup actually after Heinz, because they bottled in glass. That was the kind of the better tasting ketchup that we went to, and it was only the sugar that made me, the sugar content that made me rethink what we were doing. And they're amazing products. I mean, we like all of the things that everybody else likes, and I think this is the point. I mean, we like being British, don't we? We like our freedom of choice and expression, and I think
moderation, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's like all in moderation, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think I think people should and can do more, and there is a lot of pressure because of the changes that people have made to the fizzy drinks tariffs, and that sugar is a big question, but it's also obviously big for the economy. So there's a line that some people just won't cross because it's cheaper and quicker to use sugar and salt. Products last longer. It's difficult, and I think everybody can reduce their sugar content 100%, and over time we will all our taste buds will adjust accordingly. And I had a really good conversation with a really senior global food marketer, and she said it just takes time. It just takes it takes a few years for people to change their taste buds, but that's what we're doing. So one dollop at a time, healthy food, and also just allowing for people to have what they fancy. And also, once you do if you did a sugar-free challenge, Ben, in fact, you should join us on our next sugar-free challenge. It's a lot of fun.
Tell me about it. I'll give it a go.
We'll do that. We've just done one in September. Once you've kind of gone through a sugar detox and kind of sugar cleanse, you feel differently about foods, and it does make you appreciate the flavors of real foods more. And so it's better for you in the long run. So that's how we do things like that to help people kind of make taste adjustments.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I unknowingly, really, me and my fiance, we always buy, like, so to speak. And again, I'm not going to the healthiest thing possible here, so I'm not going out there and looking at the brands and going, oh, this is the healthiest option for me, I'm going to buy this. But I always get one. So for instance, if we're buying mayonnaise, I'd get one normal mayonnaise, so I suppose you'd say like the Hellmann's full fat or something like that, but then I'd also get a lighter than light one, so that we've got both options in the fridge, so that if we don't, one night we might be sat there having some chips, and we all love a bit of full fat mayonnaise every now and then.
I go for full fat, Ben. I think full fat has been proven to be better than light. I'd have less. This is if you were asking me, what would I advise?
It's interesting because I was also watching a program the other day on someone who was doing what was it, the Weight Watchers shakes, and they were doing a Weight Watchers shakes, and it was doing like the 2 a day, and the reason why they were doing that was because they thought it was cheaper than actually buying the fresh fruit and creating themselves like fresh fruit smoothies and stuff like that instead. And they had a look at, so to speak, the sugar intake of it, and it's unbelievable how much sugar is in the shakes. And it sort of opened my eyes up a little bit to that as well, in terms of like, well, actually here, are you fasting and eating the shakes? They're giving you energy, but is that masking the sense of hunger? Whereas actually, if you had like a fresh fruit smoothie, you're going to get so many natural sugars in there. But not only that, vitamins, you're also going to get full because you're actually, so to speak, eating something. So you're right. I think it's all in context, isn't it? You've got to have a little look. But peering back to your story. And
also, Ben, the diet industry is massive. So they're designed to make you want more of them, and sugar is more addictive than cocaine, 2,000 times more addictive than coke. So you just crave it, and sweeteners are
that's an amazing.
Worse. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's an amazing stuff.
Let's go positive again. We can talk
Well,
about
your
the
story.
negative. Just real is better, really.
Your story is amazingly positive because it's very interesting your background and to where you are now, owning a food business in some aspects, a food produce business. What were you doing before this? And you've mentioned before about your graphic company beforehand. So you've owned businesses before in the past, but slightly different to what you're doing now. So how did it feel? A, how did you get on doing what you've done in the past? But also B, how does it feel, taking that leap? How did it feel taking that leap into starting up Wonderchup?
Well, it is a real change, and I do still I do still design. I'm a spatial designer, an interior designer, and spatial designer. So I've designed buildings and furniture and all sorts of interiors, really, schools, residences, etc. So it's a big jump, but I kind of actually, when it boils down to it, I'm a creator. So I've created something. So the skill set I had as a designer, really, I've translated it to creating a product, making, and producing a product, which is, it's slightly tenuous, but for me, I've used the same skills. I've spoken to different people. I've just had to learn a whole new load of terminology and meet people in a new industry that I had no connection with. So it is a change, but I think running your own business and being confident and happy enough to work for yourself, work on your own, be independent and proactive, that's the sort of skills you need for any business. So as long as you don't mind rolling up your sleeves and getting on with the job in hand, you can succeed at any business, I'm sure. It's just about putting the effort in. But it is different, and it's quite, it's an entirely different product. But the food industry has been really friendly. I've made a lot of, really good friends I'd consider now, and people have been really helpful because they like the Wonderchup story, because actually somebody knows somebody else who's been poorly, somebody understands why we did it. So because there's trust in what we're doing, people have been friendly. They're not cynical about my motivation for doing it. And, I'm not doing it because I see it as, I'm not doing it really for material gain. I'm doing it to make a change. So one day, I do hope, as I said earlier, it'd be nice if it paid for a holiday. That'll all come. But it's important that I kind of keep going with the direction of travel, because that's, as I said, this is about a sea change. This is about bottling and glass. It's about sharing with your local community, the alternative versions of, and all the things you've said.
Well, what I love is this isn't a product and you as a business owner haven't gone, oh, health craze, let's take a product and make it healthy. There's actually a story behind this, and there's a really strong message behind this, which I think is very important for people to learn. And I think it's very important as well that the product gets, I'll say this in some ways because I'm sure it is already, but I mean to new people out there who are seeing it for the first time, that the respect it deserves, because as you say, there's no stop on quality. There's no stop on so to speak, the reasoning behind it. You've created it for a very valid reasoning where there's statistics and facts behind how you've done it, but not just that, there's a real story behind it as well. And I think that's really inspirational and and really innovative as well. You've spoken about how you produce it and how you go about it. And I think it's, and I've said this on previous podcast chatting to other people, and this is why I love speaking to people like yourself, Elise. It's a credit to the Southeast and businesses within the Southeast who start up companies and are able to embrace not just the local scene and be able to get the help locally from people that they need, like you have, but also to create a product that that we can all sort of be proud of and we can all pioneer. And I think Wonderchup is one of those. I think it's an extremely important product, and you've got an extremely important message. And as I say, the things you just said on here as a parent, I knew nothing about. So I feel really excited to hear about it and now to try it and now to see how it can help benefit my family, which I'm sure is what you want as a business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. No, very much so. So I'm glad to hear that. It's difficult because you just don't want to preach. You just want to go about your way, being kind and cool and respectful. So no, but that's great, Ben. That's exactly what we need. And yeah, thank you.
So what about the future? What does the future hold? Where are you going next with Wonderchup in the next 5 years?
Right. So actually, very exciting week. I'm glad I spoke to you this week. We're going to Waitrose live next week. So it's fantastic. So actually, that I think that's, I don't know if it's record time, but it's pretty quick actually. They like what we were doing, and they were having an overhaul of the condiment listings. So they've been looking to, they're putting us in as the healthiest ketchup. So we're really delighted. And so we're going into 15 stores. 2 are actually food halls, so 1 in Bluewater and 1 in Oxford Street. And it's a difficult time, I think. So I'm really excited, but I'm also realistic that people are shopping differently. If we do well locally, and I really hope we do, then we'll go national, then we'll go into London, and then we go online. There's a strategy, but there's a lot of interest in the business, and they've been really good to us. They're lovely to work with. I'm really pleased to say it's a lot to learn. And as I said a minute ago, I'm learning new terminology and learning a new business, and it's a steep learning curve actually going through the Waitrose training. But I mean, they listened to the fact that we had customers in Lewes, so we're going down to Lewes. They said initially it was just Kent. We know that people buy us in Kent. Obviously, it's our patch, and we're Kent Life Products of the Year. But the fact they put us in Lewes, they've even put us on the Isle of Wight. So they're looking really at a range of different places, taking us into sort of the outskirts of London. And I really hope it does well. It's difficult to predict, and actually, as I mentioned earlier, when you are on a small budget, you don't really have you don't have the funds for marketing and PR. That's the tricky thing. So this today is really well timed, and I'm going to wax lyrical about it. As I haven't fallen off my chair and the dog hasn't leapt on me, and it hasn't gone too far off piece. But no, I'm really, really happy. It's really exciting. So going into Waitrose is a really big deal, and we're working with a new wholesale partner and looking at export. And the European market looks really interesting too. We've had customer inquiries from the States as well as selling it over there. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to keep saying yes. Let's do it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's amazing, Elise. Congratulations. Many congratulations. That's incredible. Hearing the story that you've come on, and then to hear that at the end, it's like we've managed to go through every stage of your business and your planning, and then to where you're at now. That's amazing. And who knows, if it takes off, as you say, very, very quickly, and you get in stores up and down the country, that's just
I think I'd love that. It's hard. What you would know because of your research and the other businesses you look at. I mean, it's just not. This is the difficult bit, I think, to get traction and get your repeat sales. But why not? Stranger things have happened. We just got to go for it. And if in 5 years' time we've got our other 7 products on the shelves and people know us as a recognised brand, that's the intention. And then we've kind of we've done what we set out to do, which is offer people healthy alternatives that were delicious and good and fun. And
So next time you're in your local Waitrose, have a look at the condiment shelves. If there's a Wonderchup there, please pick it up. Please pick it up. But if people don't shop at Waitrose for whatever reason, where can they go and find more information out about Wonderchup, Elise?
Well, on our website, we've got a store, and we sell on Amazon, of course, and we're selling through Borough Box and a few other places. We're selling on a few different places. So our shops are all up online, and you can buy direct from us. It's better to buy direct from us because Amazon charge people who aren't on Prime quite a lot of money, and we'll be there, but when we get investment. So we're actually going to do a crowdfund very soon. So I'm just getting all the documents ready for that. So that's our next step. So we hope to crowdfund to help with the cash flow and do things like Amazon Prime and set up the resources that you need to do to grow it. So we're selling quite well. We could continue like this, but the reality is if we're trying to do what we're trying to do, get healthier ketchup out there, we've just got to get it to how people are shopping now. And obviously online shopping's risen throughout the pandemic and set to continue. But the farm shops are where you can find us. We're in lovely farm shops, Eggs to Apples. We're down at, we're in Whitstable. We're in all sorts of places. We're in fabulous McNaid's in Faversham and Ashford, and all sorts of places up in London. So we're all over the place really, but online is just as easy as anything else these days.
Well, thank you for being patient with me today, Elise. If you're watching this back on or listening back to this on the podcast channel, please hit subscribe. Please make sure you share this podcast around. Just such an amazing, inspirational story. And also make sure if you're not catching this live, catch Scale Up Stories live on our LinkedIn page, linkedin.com/company/Digital Beans UK. Make sure you come and check us out week in, week out, where we talk to amazing business owners like Elise in the Southeast, talking about where they came from and how they were inspired, I suppose, to build their business and grow it through recent times as well. Elise, thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck with Wonderchup.
Thank you so much. Thanks for asking me on. Really lovely to talk to you properly.